Jegs, or did you stick young Skywalker with it?
I stuck him with the bill.
Good man. Good man. Keep him out there working, slaving away. Hope you ordered an aperitif.
Next time, maybe you'll come and lunch with us.
Well, you got to hop in that Model X and come across to the other side, and let's do it.
All right, we'll figure it out. I might go next month. I'll leave today to go back home, and I'll be back maybe middle of June, middle of July, August. So one of those months, maybe we'll get together.
Yeah, well, young Skywalker is in the photography and video and all that stuff, and I would think that he could videotape us. We could have our first stream, Jigs, Skywalker, and Pepe. The quality would have to be better than the stuff we listened to yesterday. Lord, that was difficult.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that was very bad stream, and the chairs they were sitting on, they should have put some good chairs to Richard and this man, Eric. Where does this Eric come from?
He has been in crypto since the early days of Bitcoin, so he's a blockchain specialist.
Well, I was just wondering which country he came from, because he's not Swedish. So I don't know why. Maybe he lives there.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the initial interview back in 2019 when they were sitting at an outdoor area from an event that they were both attending. But we do appreciate the Motley investor making his channel available, the Pulsechain for providing the stream itself. Otherwise, if it were left up to the documentary crew, we would have gotten nothing. Mr. Jigs, make crypto great again.
Say that again.
Make crypto great again.
And that's for sure. Gonna buy some more. Get home. Can't buy any. Can't use my anymore.
You're still in Miami, Mr. Jigs.
You phased in and out there, Big Red.
Hi again, lady biting.
What did you say, Mr. Jigs?
I cannot buy crypto on my phone anymore. I have to wait until I get back to the bunker to hook up my laptop.
Yeah, you better go home to New York then.
I'm going home today.
That's good. Home to your wife?
Yeah, she gets mad when I leave her, so I have to go back today. She never wanted to come with me, so what do you do?
Jigs, can you claim residency in the Sunshine State, or are you still, bending the knee to the Empire State?
Because I can't, it's impossible for me.
So let's reset the room and open it up to those who perhaps have questions about HEX, Pulse, Pulsechain, PulseX, the PulseX token, etc., etc.
Morning, guys. From the beautiful island of Dominica. It's partly cloudy today. But
Good
looks
morning.
looks like it's gonna be another beautiful day. It's nice living on an
Well,
island.
partly cloudy means partly sunny.
Pretty much. So every day is a good day, even when it's raining. So, and actually, right now we probably need some rain. It's been constant sun
Down
the
here
last
in the
couple of
Sunshine State, when it's raining, the sun is still shining.
days. Yeah, we have some days like that too. But a quick observation: having been around movie sets and so on, I basically am convinced now that Pulsechain is ready. And the reason I say that is everything in the movie world, what we go in theaters and see, is very, very planned. Now, yesterday and all of this, what's going on right now, I think is just trying to fill in the last few missing pieces for the documentary. Because the thing is, if the documentary crew can capture that moment when it goes live, meaning that when Richard tweets or however he decides to do it, it still has to be planned. So he can't just wake up and say, hey guys, I'm doing this. They have to put a whole ton of stuff in place. They have to know how he's going to do it, where he's going to be. They need to capture the reaction from Twitter. They need to capture the reaction from this chat probably. and all of these things. But in order to do that, it has to be in place beforehand. So I believe Pulsechain is ready. I think right now they're just filling in the missing pieces so that they could actually capture it properly on in the documentary. And if you notice everything that's going on in the documentary right now, this is the kind of climax. This is the climax. Basically, you have the Hexicans giving their story, and now we are at the point where, okay, he's forking Ethereum. There's a lot of talk on Twitter. He just debated Eric Ward. He's driving cars all over the place. They're debating the size of his PP. All sorts of shit. And then he, however they can put it together, launches Pulsechain. And they have coverage from probably Hexicans across the globe, maybe, you know, capturing their reaction, seeing what's happening on Twitter, seeing the traffic to hex.com and pulsechain.com and all of those things, seeing what news media they could get to, you know, capture that and all of that. But it has to be planned. It
And
cannot be.
what a great way! What a great way to have a teaser ending, where you basically do a Sopranos ending and you fade to black with just the words of Pulse launched, you know, at 1 p.m. on June 12th, you know, and that'll be documentary 2.
Pretty much. But that's what I'm thinking, man. And movies have to be, the bottom line is movies cannot just, you can't just wake up tomorrow and decide to do anything in a movie or documentary. It has to be scripted. You have to have your board, your visual boards and all of that, knowing how it's going to happen, which entrance you're coming from, like a whole ton of shit that we would never think is even needed in a documentary or movie. So that's my 2 cents today. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely day.
Ciao, ciao.
So do you guys think that Eric really meant what he said at the end of the meeting, at the end of the debate? That Richard Hart is the most entertaining man and the most smartest among the most smartest people that he knows of.
That was more truthful than the other statements he made, in my opinion. I mean, look, it's not a stretch of imagination for the documentary crew to find a viable voice of opposition and have them debate Richard Hart. Surely those questions were discussed beforehand. I mean, they already gave it away when the director jumped in and was like, oh, you need to ask him about this. You promised you would ask him about this. So, yeah, I think at the end, they both have admiration for each other, and they knew what they were doing. I'm frankly surprised he didn't ask where the Ethereum went to.
It feels like we need a part 2 of this debate outside of the Netflix crew, just Richard and Eric, mano mano.
Well, didn't he say they were going to do it privately? That's what I thought. Maybe I'm misinformed.
Privately, as in with it among in front of the camera, or just privately, just between them?
Well, likely it may be on a stream. I don't know. Somehow I heard they were going to have a follow-up discussion, just those two, not with the director coming in, getting them back on track every 5 minutes.
Personally, I think they should have done it off camera, like not streaming, because to me it did come across as scripted. I understand that they're trying to get that kind of opposition, someone opposite to Richard Hart for the documentary, but it came across as scripted to me, man. So they should have just done it off camera, I think.
Yeah, there was a lot of FUD going on yesterday after the debate. People were just saying, yeah, this whole thing is yeah, you know what, and this is all a lie or whatever. So for those who don't really know about Richard, he came off really bad.
Well,
It's scripted.
it was
And
about
like,
as real as the Will Smith slap of Chris Rock. I'll say that. Yes, it happened.
I'm from the UK, and like I know America runs a lot of so-called reality shows that actually scripted, or the director will intervene and say, "Oh, can you start crying when they say this?" And we're not used to that kind of stuff, like unscripted stuff, as much as you guys in America.
That's the thing. I mean, a lot of Europeans, me included, it was very awkward to see that.
Yeah, even in UK, that they script a lot of stuff, but not as bad as America. Because my next door neighbor many years ago, she had a garden done by the people, and she was telling me that when when they're finished, that they come to her and says, "Can you just pretend that you've been on holiday and you've come back, and can you start crying when you see the garden?" I was surprised, man, and that was like more than 10 years ago. Crypto thing, we want to stay away as much as we can from fake stuff, I think.
I definitely think it was scripted to a certain extent. Like even if you watched the video while they were still setting up, I mean, they were kind of going over a little bit what the questions were and the parameters of what they were going to talk about. So, I mean, and plus Eric, I mean, he was definitely handpicked. At one point, he was supposed to work. I think he was like one of the first people to see the post code, right? Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. So, I mean, he does have some inside knowledge about what the project was because he was going to work with Richard at one point. So, I mean, it definitely wasn't a random thing.
I was taken in. I thought it was real because it's really strange. I even thought he was on the Peter McCormick level after that interview. He was asking me very dumb questions. But he would say he tweeted he wants to buy Pulse. So, yeah, I guess it's all set up.
Well, Robert, he said he'd like to buy Pulse at 150% of our sacrifice cost. That's quite different than buying Pulse. Richard told him, "Hey, you missed the sacrifice, so it's not for sale yet, but it will be." So he needs to pony up and pay the 10x or 17x or 117x. I don't want to give that guy a deal.
But if he's buying it at 3x, that's still a great deal, I think.
Now, he would be buying at 1.5x, and likely not even that, because the sacrifice cost basis would be less than likely the launch price. So he's not doing anybody a favor by saying, "Oh, I want to buy Pulse." Well, yeah, at 1.5 times SAC basis.
Yeah, that would be a great, if he could get it at 1.5 times SAC, that would be a great deal, I think.
And who's SAC? Rackham's at 25,000 per dollar. I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, someone who just SAC, someone normal, not a whale SAC.
Well, even at the end of the sacrifice phase, wasn't it like 2.5x or something? And even those people will get a good deal if Pulse does well.
Well, one of my onboards, I think, sacrificed the first day of the no bonus multiplier. The flat 2.5, or what was it, 1. I can't remember. And she only got like 23 or 2,400 per dollar at that late stage.
And that's a good deal. If it does well, that's a very good deal.
Another thing that I liked with Richard yesterday was his final comment that he said, "Hey guys, know that all of the YouTube influencers already bought in for Pulse. I mean, all of them."
Well, where else are they going to make good money in 2022? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, BTC is at 30, and it's not. It's a little less than that. Even if you got a 3x, right, to 100 grand, what kind of money is that? 3x is going to be a rounding error for Pulsechain.
So is BitBoy Crypto into Hex now, or is he just fucking around?
Now, well, yeah, he played a game on that chart. That was a Bitcoin chart, and he made it seem as if it was a Hex chart. And he was just having fun. I mean, you can tell he's bored because he's not making any money investing in the trade he's investing in. But he did get, I want to say, 60,000 hex at launch, and I guess he had Richard on 2 or 3 times. So he's since sold his hex, but he has sacrificed for Pulse.
Well, it's either two ways. It's either Richard is the biggest scammer in our history, or he's the savior of mankind, to be honest.
Well, he doesn't need to scam. He's already a billionaire, right? I mean, the guys that tend to scam you are the ones that feel deprived in some way or another, like, you know, a dev that hasn't made any money, but yet they're brilliant and they're sitting there, you know, just saying, it's my time. Richard doesn't need to scam people to make his money. You know, he's doing a great job doing it the way he's doing it. So, you know, if he was going to scam, it would have been right after the sacrifice, and he would have been gone. So, nah, he's not a scammer.
Yeah, so if someone got for each dollar 2,500 token, that's still 0.04 cents per token, isn't it? That's a good deal, man.
Yeah, most people got 10,000 for $1. If you sacrifice at the beginning, you know, not a whale even did better, but if you wanted a whale, you could get one, you get 10,000 for $1.
And a little more with the bonus multiplier. Just a scotch more, dear Robert.
Yeah, right. That's, I forgot that too. But even if you wanted a whale, you did a little better.
Robert, did you know that there are about 13 whales, only 13 in HEX?
Passes a whale, how many tokens?
I didn't know that. I didn't know there were no Poseidons, though. 0 Poseidons.
Yeah. Well, there's one. I think it's the OA, right? But yeah, so 13 is the number that I've heard. There are many more sharks and dolphins and squids, obviously.
Tokens do you have to be classed as a whale?
Is it 1% of total supply? I think something like that.
And sharks, dolphins, and they got their percentage as well.
They, you know, each one goes down by, like, I think whatever the class is beneath whale is 1/10 of a percent, and then 1/100th, and then 1/1000. I think it works like that.
Oh.
But you can look on your Staker app; it'll show it.
I haven't got any. I don't know about Stake, right? But I'm guessing I must be a plankton or something then.
To be a squid, I just looked at this. To be a squid, you have to have about 100 T-shares, or it goes up to 1,000. But then to be a dolphin, you start at 1,000 and go to 10,000 T-shares. Then a shark is another factor of 10. Then a whale is another factor of 10, and so forth. And on the same way going below by a factor of 10. About it's a little different, but it's about that.
Okay.
Robert, we've been getting fat payouts on that T-share every day. 6.3, 6.4. Yeah, I like all these early end stakes. Get the hell out, paper-handed, mid-sized bag holders. Get out.
Yeah, I saw that. In fact, I was looking at it. Last time we had a 5 handle on the payout ratio. It was like 3 weeks ago. It's been going up lately.
One day, I think it even reached 11, or a couple in a row, actually.
24 was the all-time high. That was unfortunately, when Hex 19 was accosted. But yeah, all these boys being early in staked and being put into good accounting, beautiful. Do it. Keep on dumping and give us a chance to acquire a much lower cost basis, get tons of bonus T-share payouts. Life is good.
I was thinking of putting a stake. See, I want my stake to end when they're on Pulsechain. So I was thinking of putting it in good accounting and then ending it when we have no bridge. So there won't be any tax consequences at all on the Pulse side.
I know we've talked about this before, but the good accounting fee is very similar to the end stake fee, and then you're going to have to pay an additional send fee. So it's actually, from what I've been told, perhaps a tiny little bit more expensive than if you just end staked it and took possession.
So you're saying the good accounting fee is similar to the end stake fee?
Yeah, because they have to run the daily calculation.
Oh.
They're just not minting. So I think it's relatively the same without the minting. So
I have to reconfigure then.
Yeah, so when you end the good accounting, then you are initiating the mint function.
It's probably still worth it though, because otherwise I have to pay tax immediately for all the interest I've earned. But if I end it on the Pulse chain when it's worth 0, I won't have to pay tax.
Well, Robert, it all depends what your tax professional and you agree upon. In my case, in my jurisdiction, just for me, not tax advice, I do not create a taxable event when I get a stake sent to my wallet. That's not taxable. That's still in my possession. It never left my possession.
But when you end it, don't you have to pay tax on all the interest you've earned?
Well, so it depends how you dispose of the asset. What are you planning on doing once the principal tokens and then the yield tokens hit your wallet? Tell me what the next thing is.
See, I thought, despite whatever you decide to do with it, you have to pay tax on the interest. That's like ordinary income. The principal's a different story, but you have ordinary income when you end the stake.
Well, it would be taxed as income if you were to take those tokens and bring them to an exchange and go to fiat, right? Or swap them for another token. But if you just unstake, now this is what my accountant says, only for my situation, not anyone else's. But if I end stake early or otherwise, then and it goes back to my wallet. I mean, it technically never really left my wallet, or it never left my possession, right? So the only way you create a taxable event is when you swap those tokens for another token, or you go to fiat.
Oh, okay. That's funny. That wasn't my understanding, but who knows? Maybe your situation's different.
Either way, good luck, lad. I've got to go and buy some produce because I've got a beautiful day ahead of me.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Robert, just to build on what Pepe was saying, if you look at Matty Allen's YouTube page and the Hex conference, I think it's like day 4 or maybe day 3. The first part of it, Toby One, Hexobi, and Papa Boner were on the stream, and they talked for about a half hour, 40 minutes, covering exactly what Pepe was talking about. It's a really, really good explanation.
Oh, that was on Maddie's. He had to stream Maddie's page.
Yeah, he has the recordings of the Hex conference this year. I think there's 4 or 5 or 6 videos. They're all about 3, 4, 5 hours long. And one of them, I can't remember which one, but Toby Wan and Papa were on the panel, and they talked pretty extensively about just about this, the rewards from staking and a bunch of other very specific, intricate workings of the of Hex and things like that. But specifically, what Pepe was talking about, they cover really in depth.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.
Hey, Robert, I found that video on Matty Allen's page. It's the HEX conference day 2. It's the very beginning of day 2. Toby Wan and Papa B.
Oh, thank you.
They also get into the specifics of how to treat the Pulse and PulseX Sacrifice in a taxable way, if you haven't already dealt with that.
Thanks. I haven't yet, so that'd be helpful. Thank you.